Good day. Today is Sunday, August 16th, 2026. Thank you for being here. Got an interesting read. We're going to talk about who was Cardinal Rampolla. I found this off the Fatima.org website. It's the Fatima Center, where I get my readings regarding the apparitions at Fatima, in Portugal in 1917. All right, let's get started with Good Day Rising prayers. In nomine Dei, matronam nostra, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Let us place ourselves in the presence of the Most Holy Divine Family, and in Catholic contemplation humbly venerate the Most Holy Trinitarian Theophany. Most Holy and Venerable Trinity, one Divine Family, I believe that Thou art here present. I venerate Thee with the deepest humility. I render to Thee with my whole heart the homage which is due to Thee. O most Holy Trinity, relying on Thine infinite goodness and promises, I hope to obtain pardon of my sins, the help of Thy grace and life everlasting, through the merits of Deum Iesum Christum et Deum matronam nostrae. O most Holy Trinity, I love Thee above all things with my whole heart and soul, because Thou art all good and worthy of all love. I love my neighbor as myself for love of Thee, and I forgive all who have injured me and ask pardon of all whom I have injured. Let us thank the Most Holy Trinity for the many graces that we receive and offer ourselves and our sufferings up to heaven, and for the souls in purgatory. O Most Holy Trinity, I most humbly thank Thee for all the favors Thou hast bestowed upon me to the present moment. It is again thanks to Thy bounty that I should live to see this day, and I desire to employ it solely in Thy service. I consecrate to Thee all my thoughts, words, actions, and sufferings of this day. Sanctify them, that there may be none that is not animated by Thy love, or that would not tend to Thy greater glory. Let us make a firm resolution to avoid evil and to do good, and let us beg of the Most Holy Divine Family the graces which are necessary to us. O Most Holy Trinity, Thou knowest my weakness, and that I am unable to do anything good without the help of Thy grace. Deny me not Thy grace, proportionate to my necessities. Give me strength to avoid everything which Thou forbiddest, to practice the good which Thou hast commanded, and enable me patiently to bear all the trials which it may please Thee to send me. O Deum matronam nostrae, O Holy Mother of God, I place myself under Thy protection. I throw myself with confidence into the arms of Thy compassion. Be to me, O Mother of Mercy, my refuge in distress, my consolation in suffering, now and at the hour of my death. The most holy Trinity, as envisioned by St. Lucia, is the most holy Trinitarian Theophany, Dea Matronam Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. I am heartily sorry for having offended thee, and I detest all my sins because I dread the loss of heaven and the pains of hell. But most of all because they offend thee, O most holy Trinity, who are all good and deserving of all my love. I firmly resolve, with the help of thy grace, to confess my sins, to do penance, and to amend my life. Deum Obiscum, et quoque apote. Oremus. Fidelium Deum Iesum Christum, omnium conditor et redemptor, animabus famalorum famorquetorum remissionem contorum, tribue peccatorum, ut indulgentiam quam semper opte verunt pii supplicationibus consequentor. Qui tegum vivit reinat in una divina familia, qui erat est et erit in aeternum. Suscipe Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, hanc immaculatum hostiam, quam ego indinius famulos tuus offerit tibi Deum meum vivum et verum, pro innumerabilibus peccatis et offensionibus et negligencies meis, et pro omnibus circumstantibus, et omnibus federibus, Catholicorum vivis atque defunctis ut mihi edidis perficiat salutem. Deum qui humanae substantia dignitatem mirabilito condidissio mirabilitus reformasti da nobis pedus et cordo in mysterium meus divinitatis et consortis criminitatis nostrae, fieri dignatus is particeps Deum Iesum Christum Filium, qui tegum vivit et reinant in una divina familia, qui erat est et erit in aeternum. Offerimus tibi Deum calicem, salutaris tuum de peccantis clementiam ut conspecto divina majestatis tuae, pro nostra totius mundi salute, cum odore suavitatis ascendat. In spiritu humilitatis et in animo contritus suscipiamur ad Deum Iesum Christum, et sec fiat sacrificium nostrum et conspectu hodie, ut placiat tibi Deum Matronam nostra et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Veni sanctificator, Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, et sanctificite oblate prosequendo, et accepere hoc sacrificium tuo sanctum nomini, praeparatum. Suscipe Sancta Trinitas, hanc oblationem cum tibi efferimus, a memoriam passionis, resurrectionis et ascensionis Deum Iesum Christum, et in honorem Deum Matronam Nostrae et Papa Peter Sanctorum, et Historum et Omnium Sanctorum, ut illis proficiat ad honorem nobis autem et salutem, et ili pro nobis intercedere in interim caelis, coram memoriam agimus interis, per in Christum Deum nostrum. Orate ut meum equestrum sacrificium acceptabile fide per Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Suscipiat Deum Iesum Christum sacrificium de manibus tuis, et laudem et gloriam nomini sui ad utilitatem quoque nostrum totiusque ecclesiae suae sanctae. Deum Obiscum, quoque apote, sursum corda, donas a Deum. Gratias agamus Deum nostrum, dignum et justum est. te, et ornamentissimi mater pater Deum, matram nostra, et in Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, Fidem Iesum Christum filium tuum Deum nostrae, supplices rogamus ad petimus, uti eccepta habeas et sanctificas, haec sanctam sacrificiam ilibata, in primis quae tibi ferimus pro ecclesiam tuam sanctam catholicam, quam pacificare, custodire, adorare, et regere dignedis tot orbite rarum atque catholicae. Memento Deum famolorum famorocitorum. We pray for the sick and the suffering. We especially pray for Paul, Shelley, Therese, Cody, Ben, Jenny, Katie, Kathy, Maria Josephina Mose, Marilyn, Mark Jr. and the Stevenson family, Letitia, Mindy, Todd, Clarette, and Dennis, Robert Dosco Jr. and Sr., Rochelle Dosco, Barbara Santa Croce, James, Robert, Benedict, Gregory, Adam, Malachi, and Patrick Santa Croce, the Williams, Tafour, and Began families, Michaela McLarnon and family, the Kendrick, Shorten, Nolan, Dosco, Kane, Nye, Wolf, Camerano, and Paholski families, and all their good intentions. We pray for an end to all governmental allowance or sanctioning of abortion, transgenderism, transhumanism, child trafficking, child abuse of any kind, anywhere, place, or time. We pray for the establishment of a Catholic monarchy with a sound Catholic system of labor, human value, and medium of exchange with no usury. We pray that courageous men step forward as leaders of this Catholic society to root out all corruption with common sense and virtuous behavior. All this we ask in accordance with the most holy divine family's goodwill and intention. Et omnium circumstantium, quorum tibi fides cognita est et nota devotio, pro quibus tibi efferimus, vel qui tibi offrant hoc sacrificium laudis, pro se suisque omnibus, pro redemptione animarum suarum prospe salutis et egulamitatis suae, tibi credunt voltas sua aeterno Deum vivo et vero. Communicantes et memonem honorantes in primis gloriosae semper Deum maternam nostrae, et Deum Iesum Christum, et Beatorum Matilium Tuorum Papa Sancti Petri, et Sancti Lucia, et Sancti Jacinta, et Sancti Francisco, et Sancti Juan Diego, et omnium Sanctorum Tuorum Corum Editis, praecibusque concedas, ut in omnibus protectionis Tuae muniamar, auxilio pediendum Christum Deum nostrum, quam oblatione de Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum in omnibus, consecratum ac templim glorificare dignidis ut nobis corpum, et sanguinem fiat dedictissimi filium tuum Deum Iesum Christum, qui pridie quam pateretur recepit panem in sanctus aquarablis manus suas, et derivatis hoc lisum calamate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum sum omno potentem tibi gratias agens. Consecratavit, frege didique lumnis sui dicens, accipite et mandocate ex hoc omnes. Hoc est enim corpus meum, simile modo postquam ceremonias decipienser hunc preclarum calicem in sanctus aquarablis manus suas, item tibi gratias agens Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Consecratavit, dedique lumnis sui dicens accipite et bibite ex omnes, hic est enim calic sanguinis mei, mysterium fidei, quae pro nobis et pro multis effundetur in remissione peccatorum, et escum proficeditis in mono facietis. Unde et memores Demno servitui sed plebs tua sancta justum Christum filium tuum Dem nostrae, tam beate passionis nac nac inferis resurrectionis sed et in caelos glorioso escensionis offerimus, praeclarae maiestati tui de tuis donis actatis, supra quae propitio ac sereno utur respiciedi digneris. Supplices teragamus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum nive hic preferibus manus tuum ut quod ex hoc autaris participatione sacrosanctum Deum Filium tuum, orbus et sanguinem simsenimus, omni sanctificatione calesi gratia Dei amor per inum Christum Deum nostrae. We pray for those who have died. We especially pray for Maria Schreck, for whom this Mass is being offered. Ipsis Deum et omnibum in Christum quiscendibum locum refugere ducis et pacis ut ondare gesta procamor per inum Christum Deum nostrum. Per cum hic omnia Deum Iesum Christum semper bona creas, sanctificas, revivicas, consecratis et praestas nobis. Per ipsum et cum ipso et in ipso, est tibi Deum Matrum omnipotenti in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, omnis honor et gloria. Ave Dea matronam nostrae, gratia plena Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum tecum, sancta tua in mulier, Dea matronam nostrae, matram Deum Iesum Christum, misericordia nobis peccatoribus, nunc et in hora mortis nostrae. Libera nos quae sumus Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum ab omnibus malis, praeteritis, praesentibus et futuris et intercedente beata gloriosa semper Deum matram nostrae. Cum Papa Petrum Sanctorum et omnibus sanctis, da propitius pacem mendibus nostris. Ut opi misericordiae Tuae aduiti de peccato, simus semper liberi et ab omni perturbatione securi. Per Deum Deum nostrum Iesum Christum Filium Tuum Deum nostrum, qui tecum vivet reinat in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per aeternam. Pax Deum Iesum Christum sit semper vobiscum et quoque apate. Aecum extio consecratio copris et sanguis Deum Iesum Christum, fiat excipientibus nobis in ad salutem aeternam. Pax tecum et quoque apate. Deum Iesum Christum, qui ex voluntate Deum matronam nostrae, qua pronte Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, per mortem tuam mundum vivificasti, libera me per hoc sacrosanctum corpus et sanguinum, tuum ab omnibus iniquitatibus meis, et universis malis, et fac me tui semper in harare mandatis, et unum cam separare permittas, qui cum eum Deum matronam nostrae et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum, vivis et reinam aeternam. Perceptio corporis tui Deum Iesum Christum, quod ego indinius sum repraesum non mihi proveniat in indicium, et condemnationem. Sed pro tu pietate prosit mihi, ad tutum medice corporis, et ad vedelam percipiendam. Qui vivis et reinas cum Deum matronam nostrae in unitate Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Panem celestem excipiem in nomine Deum Iesum Christum invocabo. Deum matronam nostrum non sundinus, ut et suscitet meis in tante de gloria sabaranum mea. Deum Iesum Christum non sundinus, ut et suscitet meis in tante de gloria sabaranum mea. Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum non sunt in mis. Ut et Jesum te meas in pacte de corpus sabra anima mea. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima mea. Quadratubum Deum Iesum Christum per omnibus quadratubus mihi, calicem saitaris equipem et nomen Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum invocabo. Laudans invocabo Deum matronam nostra et ab inimicis meis elosero. Sanguis Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet anima meam. Corpus Deum nostrum Iesum Christum custodiet animam tuum. Codore sumpsimus Deum Iesum Christum purimente capiam et sete murerete per fit nobis remedium sempiternum. Corpus tuum Deum Iesum Christum custans et sanguis quem potavia hede auscelibus meis apraesta, ut in me non remania scelera macula quem purat sancta reficero sacramenta. Deum obiscum, quoque pote. Oremus. Animabus quesumus Deum Iesum Christum. Famulorum tuorum oratio proficiat supplicantium. Ut eis et peccatis omnibus, exo es et tue redemptionis facies esse particepes. Qui ticum vivere reinat in una divina familia, qui erat est et edit in aeternum. Deum obiscum, quoque pote, ite mis est. Deum gratia. Placia tibi sancta Trinitam obsequium, subitutis mea et praesto ut sacrificim coroculis tuae maestatis in unus optolitibus et cartaverem et omnibus, proquibus iudut optolis sit miserante propitiae per Christum Deum nostrum. Sanctificat vos omnipotens Deum, Deum Matronum Nostrae, Deum Iesum Christum, et Deum Patrum Spiritum Sanctum. Gracias. Again, thank you for your presence, your action. Your actions are what really make the difference. So I was investigating what happens after the seers were kidnapped, and I came across this, and I wanted to talk about this instead because this was really quite interesting. Because I guess it happened on the same date. Let's see. Well, we'll find out. But it's around this date back in the early 1900s. And it's the almost election of Cardinal Rampolo in 1903. This article was written by Matthew Plesse, Plese. The 1903 conclave that elected Pope St. Pius X was the scene of an almost entirely undiscussed historical event. The near election of Cardinal Rampolla as the Vicar of Christ. This forgotten episode of Catholic history should not be lost to history. It contains many valuable lessons. Now I wanted to make a mention of that. I posted a comment on a Facebook chat where I'm trying to get people to understand that we have lost history. Much of history has been lost, and most of our truth and facts are coming through discernment and bits and pieces that we can discern. If it's out there really public, it probably isn't accurate. So who was Cardinal Rampolla? Mariano Rampolla del Tindaro was an Italian cardinal who served as the Secretary of State under Pope Leo XIII from 1887 until 1903. He died in 1913. Born in Polizzi Generosa, Sicily, Rampolla was ordained a priest in 1866, became a bishop in 1882, and appointed to the Archbishop of Urbino in 1887. And in the same year, he was also appointed Secretary of State by Leo XIII, a position he held until the Pope's death in 1903. As Secretary of State, Rampolla was known for his diplomatic skills and played a significant role in shaping the policies of the Vatican. He was a strong advocate for the Church's social teachings, including the rights of workers and the poor, and was an important figure in the development of Catholic social thought. It was under Pope Leo XIII that, quote, key teachings on the Church's social teachings, for example, Rerum Novarum, were promulgated, unquote. The conclave of 1903. So what happened? Cardinal Rampolla was the leading candidate for the papacy in the 1903 conclave that followed the death of Pope Leo XIII. However, his candidacy was vetoed, not by who you would think. It wasn't vetoed by other cardinals. It was vetoed by the Holy Roman Emperor Franz Joseph I, a monarch who objected to Rampolla's election. The conclave then elected Giuseppe Sarto, Cardinal of Venice, who took the name Pius X. Today, this saintly pope is best known for his conservative policies and his efforts to reform the Church, which included the lowering of the age for Holy Communion and the encouragement for even daily communions. Despite this setback, Cardinal Rampolla remained an influential figure in the Church until his death in 1913. He was known for his intellect, diplomatic skills, and, like I said, commitment to social justice. So, this begs the question, why did Franz Joseph reject Cardinal Rampolla? And I'm pretty sure he was the last monarch. This gets intriguing. What this article doesn't get into at all, I'm going to mention in a second. Franz Joseph I of Austria-Hungary invoked a power of veto that had not been used in 400 years to eliminate Cardinal Rampolla as a candidate for the papacy in 1903. He did this because Rampolla was known to be a what? Freemason. Though the common opinion was that the emperor had been motivated by political reasons related to the conflict between the Vatican and the Italian government at the time. The emperor's true reason did not become known until 1918. Okay, so it was much later. At the time of the conclave, Italy was in the process of unifying and was seeking to establish. Okay, this is their twist, if you will, or their what do they call that? Spin. Okay, that the Italian government sought to weaken the power of the Catholic Church in Italy and to assert its control over the appointment of bishops and other church officials, which was true. The Freemasons were coming at the church on multiple angles, the Catholic Church. And so here's what I came up with. Again, this was a battle against the church by Satan. And he was using the Freemasons, Satan and Lucifer, and he was using the Freemasons. So he exercised the right of veto, which was a prerogative that certain Catholic monarchs had in the past to block papal elections that they saw as contrary to their interests. The veto power was subsequent. Now, this is the part that gets interesting. The veto power was subsequently abolished by the following year, by Pope Pius X, who issued a decree called Commissum Nobis. So my ears automatically tweaked. It's like, why would he abolish that which got him into the papacy and prevented a Freemason? Well, could Pius X have had connections? Why did Pope Leo XIII appoint Rampolla? He must have known he was a Freemason. If you don't know that your cardinal is a Freemason, I don't know. So since then, all papal elections are supposed to be decided by the College of Cardinals without any external interference. The democratic method, okay, which is a Freemasonic principle. So gets back to the monarchy. Why is the monarchy, Catholic monarchy, so important? What did the Freemasons know? They knew that the monarchy was extremely powerful, especially, obviously, a Catholic monarchy, because it was there to preserve, defend the most holy Catholic Church. Their goal, okay, was ultimately to get rid of the monarchy, to take control of the church. Freemasons. And that's the route that they went. So even Pius X, by eliminating that, helped the Freemasons so that they could then take over the church completely, okay, which they have done. On what authority could Catholic monarchs veto papal elections? Catholic monarchs had the power to veto a papal election in the past because they were given a certain level of authority over the church in their respective territories. The veto power was exercised by Catholic monarchs who were concerned that the new pope might, again, the spin, might take positions or make decisions that would be detrimental to their interests or the interests of their countries. They don't even say that, well, it could be that he was actually defending the church by using the veto power. Okay, that's what Catholic monarchs are held to a very high standard, almost the same as a pope. And that's why it's so important to have many Catholic monarchs, not just one. And again, because I have a feeling because of Franz Joseph's decision to veto that Freemason is why he was assassinated, and which began World War I. Makes sense. That would be the real reason. They don't talk about that in history either. The use of the veto power was rooted in the historical relationship between the church and the state. In all ancient civilizations, religious and political authority were always understood to have divine origins. Therefore, it was natural for religious authorities to have some degree of political power and political leaders to have some degree of religious authority. Within Christendom, or Catholicity, the church-state relationship has always been complex, frequently uneasy, and at times downright confrontational. Only when the virtues aren't being practiced by the leaders. That's the only time that happens. Catholic monarchs, that's why there's the check. You have the Catholic monarch and you have the Catholic Pope. Catholic monarchs saw themselves as the protectors of the church. Okay, there's a good statement, finally. And believed that they had the right to ensure that the Pope was someone who would work in harmony, and he puts with their policies, but with their policies, and which would in turn, if you're Catholic, be good for all of the church and all of the Catholic world. The use of the veto power was formalized by the 17th century and was exercised by several monarchs, including the Holy Roman Emperor, the kings of France, and the kings of Spain, among others. So, that should come back. So hopefully the great monarch that returns will also bring that and reestablish that. Thank you for coming, for listening, for donating, for your prayers especially. Again, the plan is to leave this week. We'll see how things go. We got to address a feeding tube issue before we go, and make sure we're all packed up. All right, we look forward to, so needless to say, probably Wednesday will be the last Mass this week until we get where we're going. Again, thanks for your prayers. Please go and sanctify all those you meet and practice the virtues. Have a great day.